Okay, so today we'll be talking about two strategies for teaching English language learners. The first strategy is strategy number 12, and it's entitled Repeated Reading. So this is one of the most effective ways to support students as they develop both fluency and comprehension, and from that are able to correct their punctuation. This is very important because it hits on a lot of competencies that English language learners really struggle with, either oral speaking, writing, or reading. So that's three major ones. And an example of how this can be implemented into the classroom is by using script writing and reader's theater. This is actually how it is able to hit all three of those competencies by doing these two activities. So, reader's theater and script writing allow students to engage in writing the scripts for reader's theaters, and then reading scripts as a member of a small group offers them the opportunity to practice both oral and writing competencies. So if you think about it, they are actually writing down a script and creating words and sentences, and are able to practice their writing in that way, but then afterwards they have to read those scripts aloud. So they're using their oral presentation along with being able to decode vocabulary words and sentences ultimately. And by the time they perform this reader's theater, they have fully comprehended some vocabulary and some understanding of the general topic. Also, being able to be really fluent in that because they're performing it as a form of entertainment, and they have to make sense to an audience. So it's able to hit a lot of competencies with script writing and reader's theater by the strategy of repeated reading. So some of the more specific steps within script writing and reader's theaters that point more directly to certain competencies would be selecting a book, which enables the ELL student to read the actual text and select something for this script to be derived off of, or to demonstrate the format for writing the script. So there's a lot of dialogue added, or just different things like writing techniques. If there were different themes, different voices, the ELL would have to learn about those and be able to distinguish and recognize those things in order to format writing a script. So they'd be able to grow in those areas of writing competencies. All the while actually writing the script allows them to partner in shared writing. So they'd be able to be influenced by their peers, their classmates, and grow in that area. Another would be to practice reading the script aloud. So this would probably most likely take a little more time for ELL learners, but as they read their script more frequently, their fluency would grow. And we know directly from teaching that when your fluency grows, so does your comprehension. Those two really lay hand in hand. And then ultimately when they perform the script, they are being able to display their fluency, comprehension, correct punctuation, oral competency, writing competencies, and even reading competencies. So that is strategy 12 for repeated reading. Moving on to my second strategy, being strategy 35, and that's entitled Free Voluntary Reading. Other school districts, other places call this sustained silent reading. So this is the general definition is that it is a system for encouraging silent, self-selected reading of enjoyable books written at students' independent reading level. And this is derived off of the belief that nothing encourages reading like reading. So what happens here is that a teacher would need to identify the ELL learner's reading level whatever that may be at, in order to give them this time to have sustained silent reading. Another step that they'll have to take is they'll have to explain the program to the students. So the teacher would actually have to explain to the ELL student that he or she will be given time to read this one book at this one level over and over again at different times, and be able to choose another book at that same guided reading level. The teacher will also have to discuss the books in the groups. So differentiating that each letter is actually significant in that they must stay at their specific reading level. Even if their friend or the classmate next to them is at a different reading level, they must stay at their own. And motivation over time is another step that should be implemented. So reading on your own for a lengthy period of time, day after day, can be kind of mundane, especially for an ELL student who may have a lot of anxiety or stress about reading a book in English that they really don't understand. So it's important that the teacher be able to motivate them as time goes on, whether that be keeping track of when popular authors are coming into town in order to allow the students to see that author as a guest appearance, or to motivate them by allowing them to create a trailer or movie video for their favorite book that they've read so far. But with that motivation, it's also important that the teacher monitor the student's progress. So we wouldn't want to keep an ELL learner on the same guided reading book level throughout the whole year when they might be improving and the text might actually become easier or more simpler for them. So a way to implement this would be that the teacher creates some sort of chart that allows the student to maybe put a sticker or a stamp or check off different types, genres of books that they've read. And once they've reached a certain number of books, perhaps 50 or 100 of these books, the teacher would then be able to celebrate them in some way, have some sort of gift or prize probably for them to draw out of and just feel celebrated for their accomplishments. But while this is celebrating the student, it's also beneficial to the teacher, because then it would be a reminder that I probably have to retest this child in guided reading to see if they're at a new level, in order that they just continue to grow in their reading. So that is strategy 35, and it's called free voluntary reading. Thank you.